Anxiety. I am so anxiety free in my life now. And I have never in my life met anyone who has as intense of a story of anxiety as I do. I mean, my anxiety was so bad, it was to the point where I was bedridden for 4 or 5 years. I had issues that were accompanied by anxiety, and anxiety that was accompanied by issues. You know, it's a cause and it's an effect. Sometimes you have anxiety because you're going through health issues, and sometimes you have anxiety and then it creates health issues. And then those two things feed off each other and bounce back and forth, and you don't know which is what, or what is up and what is down. And I was bedridden for 5 years due to not being able to get answers with my health or with what was going on with my mental state. And I mean, the anxiety was so extreme that my resting heart rate was around 120. The average is around 170. I was having skipped beats. I was having chest pain, asthma attacks, dizziness, horrible dizziness, skin rashes, everything you could think of, everything you've ever heard of, I was experiencing. I experienced almost every sensation. You know, you get muscle twitches, confusion, inability to sit, inability to think. The intensity of my anxiety got to the point where my heart would even race at like 160, 170 beats a minute for days on end. And when I say prior to that my heart rate was 120, that was resting. That's sleeping. That's totally chilled out. If I got a little anxious, it'd go 140, 160, 180. It was insanity. For years. For years I had this issue, and I went to every different kind of alternative doctor, every kind of specialist, every kind of medical doctor, emergency rooms, acupuncture, EFT, NLP, acupressure, massage, craniosacral therapy, everything I could think of. Tried every different herb. I tried valerian, hawthorn berry, dong quai, melatonin. I can't even remember all of them, but everything I could to kind of tilia, everything I could to kind of calm down. I tried everything. I tried breathing. I tried programs. I tried this. I tried that. And I finally came across the key components in anxiety that help release it. And as I was figuring it out, I started taking notes because I was like, this is the key. These are the keys that unlock all the spaces within you that hold anxiety. And this is the awareness that can bring people out of a life of anxiety and into a life of endless possibilities. And when your anxiety goes away, the health problems that you've been experienced will decrease dramatically, if not completely disappear, because through the stress hormone you perpetuate and you expand anything in your body that is irregular. Anything in your body that is depleted becomes more depleted, more regulated. So to really master peace and let go of anxiety is beyond important for anyone who's got mental, emotional, or physical disharmonies in their being. There are so many different little hitches when it comes to anxiety. One is you need to understand this. When you are in a state of total bliss and peace, anxiety can still hit you. Full-blown panic can ensue when you are breathing, when you're relaxing, when you're by the water, when you're surrounded by loving people. Full-blown anxiety can overtake you at any moment. And that's a big thing to understand, because a lot of us who have anxiety, we're like, was that anxiety? Do I have a heart issue? Do I have this? Do I have that? What's wrong with me? Anxiety can take over at any moment because it is in the subconscious mind, and you can be getting triggered by something you're not even aware of. It could be a pattern that you saw at one point when you experienced trauma. It could be a smell that you smelled during trauma. It could be a color. Whatever you took in moments of traumas can become triggers for you, and you'll see them and you'll not know why or what stimulated you into full-blown panic when you're trying to be so calm and at peace, but it will. So the key is to start deactivating triggers, and it doesn't mean you have to find every single trigger, because at this point, if you've been dealing with anxiety for a long time, you have a lot of triggers. When you're in anxiety and you are taking things in, you develop more triggers, because you're like, I'm in anxiety and I see this, and then you see that down the road and it reminds you of the anxiety, but you're not fully aware that it's reminding you of that. Your body, your breathing, your nervous system is just responding to that stimulus stored in your subconscious mind. And the subconscious does that because it's trying to prevent you from having the scary experience, but it's giving you the scary experience. It's saying, not that, go away from that. That's bad, that's associated with bad, that's associated with pain, fear, danger. So it's deactivating the triggers. It's going in and finding a few key things and deactivating them. And you don't have to deactivate them all. You just have to start getting peace triggers installed at the same time. You know, if you can install anxiety, you can install peace quite easily. Another thing is just to take it easy on yourself and recognize it as a process as you deprogram from the stress and anxiety. You're deprogramming something that you have deeply embedded within yourself. And what I see people do is, okay, I'm feeling better. Oh, shoot, it happening and I'm anxious. And they start talking down on themselves or thinking that just because anxiety was triggered again means that they're not doing it right. And disapproval with the self creates even more anxiety and more fear within yourself, because you start thinking that you're incapable of doing this work, which means you're incapable of conquering it, which your subconscious goes into, I have to live like this forever in a state of perpetual fight or flight. It's freaky, but it's not the truth. It's not what you have to do. So when I'm working with people who have anxiety, I am working with them to recognize that as things come up, they can just be present with them. As new triggers come up, you get to say, how do I want to deal with this? When you go into panic, you get to say, okay, how am I going to be with myself in panic? How do I want to be with myself right now? Gentle? Okay, I'll be a little gentler. A little easier? Okay, I'm just going to let it go. And that doesn't mean, oh, I let it go. It means I'm going to let this wash over me. It's an energy that's trying to move, and I'm going to allow it to move. Anxiety is an energy, and it's an energy we try to suppress because we associate it with great discomfort and even shame. And anxiety is just this beautiful energy that wants redirection, and it also wants release. So as it comes up in people, they try to shut it down, or they second guess themselves, or they're trying to hide or get away, and it's kind of condensing in that anxiety in your body. And you're in that pattern of like clenching up. So first the pattern of anxiety from whatever triggered you, and then the pattern of this is how I feel about anxiety. It's like this sticky layer of things that just builds and builds and builds until you pull it out at the root, deactivate it, and choose something new. So you get to choose how you want to be with the anxiety. Okay, I'm going to be here. I'm going to be present. I'm going to let it wash over me. I'm going to know it's moving out. I'm going to let it. It can be vibrating out of you. Maybe you're palpating, maybe you're dizzy, maybe you're confused, maybe you're wondering if it's a health issue, whatever. Okay, I'm going to let that be. I'm going to let it flow. I'm going to let it move. And then pretty soon you find yourself choosing another experience. As you begin to consciously choose your experiences, your entire subconscious and reactive mind changes. And you start becoming free to choose. And you become in total awareness to what you're feeling and why you're feeling it. and you really get to connect in with yourself. Anxiety is an invitation to really connect in with yourself on a deeper level, let yourself off the hook for things, and allow things to move. So this is something near and dear to my heart. I totally enjoy working with my clients who have the experience of anxiety and watching them move through it with ease, peace, and grace, and joy, and real enthusiasm. Because after thinking that I was going to die for 5 years, really believing I wouldn't live, I didn't think I'd live to see 25, and look at me now, look at me now. I really didn't. I didn't believe with any piece of me I was going to live to see 25. No way, not with everything my body went through. And you really put your body through a lot with anxiety, but guess what? It can handle it. It can also handle the amount of relaxation it's going to feel when you're out of that fight or flight. It's going to be like, ugh. Your body's just a well-trained athlete at that point that finally gets a break, gets to relax, gets to rejuvenate. But the process can be quicker than you think. You can really move through things in a beautiful way. And I just hope that whoever sees this video, I hope it helps you. And I hope you contact me if you want to do personal one-on-one session and really shift the anxiety into something new. There's so many other aspects of anxiety, including the addiction to the anxiety and all the chemicals and hormones that it releases. You know, we don't decide we're addicted, the addiction just happens, and so we subconsciously look for triggers to feel that again too. It's so fascinating. It's so fascinating how it all takes place, and even more fascinating is how to move through it and have an entirely new experience in life.